Medieval dungeons weren't dark stone chambers with iron bars. They were wet holes in the ground where people disappeared forever. The word dungeon comes from the French donjon, meaning the strongest tower of a castle. But most prisoners never saw towers. They saw dirt walls, ankle-deep water, and rats the size of cats. Your cell might be a natural cave, a repurposed grain pit, or just a space carved between foundation stones. Guards threw food down through a hole in the ceiling. If you were lucky, they remembered to throw food at all. Picture trying to sleep on muddy stone while water drips on your face. Your wrists burn from iron shackles that never come off. The air tastes like mold and human waste. You share your space with insects, rodents, and sometimes the bones of previous prisoners. Today we complain when our phone battery dies or the Wi-Fi runs slow. But before we explore this world together, I need you to do something. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from, your city, your country. Let's build a community of people who love diving into medieval history together. Find somewhere comfortable to listen. Maybe dim the lights. Let your mind travel back 700 years to a time when a simple spoon might mean the difference between freedom and death. You're about to experience 3 days that will test everything you think you know about survival, hope, and the human spirit. You wake up slowly, like surfacing from deep water. Your head pounds with each heartbeat. The last thing you remember is walking home from the Lord's fields at sunset. Someone grabbed you from behind. A cloth covered your mouth. The world went black. Now you lie on cold stone. Water drips somewhere in the darkness. Each drop echoes like a hammer on metal. You try to sit up. Iron chains clank against stone. Heavy shackles circle your wrists and ankles. The metal has already rubbed your skin raw. When you move, the chains scrape and ring in the silence. Your eyes adjust slowly to the darkness. A thin line of light comes from somewhere far above. As your vision clears, you see rough stone walls on 3 sides. The 4th side drops away into deeper darkness. You are in a pit carved from living rock. The smell hits you next. Mold, dampness, and something worse. Human waste and decay. Other prisoners have been here before you. Some may still be here, deeper in the shadows where your eyes cannot reach. You call out softly. Hello, is anyone there? Your voice echoes back from stone walls. No one answers, but you hear something moving in the darkness beyond your reach. Scratching sounds. Tiny claws on stone. Rats probably. Maybe something worse. Your stomach growls like an angry dog. How long have you been here? Your mouth tastes like copper and dirt. Your throat burns with thirst. The constant drip of water sounds close, but you cannot reach it with your chains. You explore your small space with careful movements. The shackles give you maybe 3 feet in each direction. Your fingers find grooves in the stone floor. Scratches made by other prisoners. Some form letters. Others are just desperate scrapes, counting marks that go on and on. One set of marks catches your attention. Someone carved deep grooves near where you sit. You trace them with your finger. They form crude words. Thomas Baker. God help me. You wonder if Thomas ever left this place. The scratches look old, worn smooth by time and touch. Your bare feet are already numb from the cold stone. You have no blanket, no straw, nothing soft between you and the rock. The rough cloth of your peasant tunic provides little warmth. You shiver and pull your knees to your chest. The light from above grows slightly brighter. Morning, perhaps. Or maybe midday. Time moves differently in the deep dark. Minutes feel like hours. Hours might pass in what seems like moments. You hear footsteps above. Heavy boots on wooden floors. Voices talking in low tones. the sounds of the world continuing while you sit forgotten in the earth. A piece of bread drops from the opening far above. It lands in the mud near your feet, already soaked and crumbling. You reach for it anyway. The chains pull tight, cutting into your wrists. You stretch until your shoulder screams with pain. Your fingertips brush the bread. Wet, moldy, mixed with dirt from the floor. You eat it anyway. Each bite tastes like earth and desperation, but your empty stomach accepts anything. As you chew, you notice something hard in the bread. A small piece of metal. You pull it from your mouth and hold it up to catch the dim light from above. It is a spoon. Crude iron, bent and worn, but definitely a spoon. Some other prisoner must have hidden it in their clothes. When they died or were taken away, it somehow ended up in your bread. You look at the simple tool in your palm. Just iron shaped into a bowl with a handle. Nothing special. Nothing magical. But in this place of stone and despair, it feels like hope given form. You close your fist around the spoon and lean back against the cold wall. Your first day in the dungeon has begun. Already you understand that this place was designed to break the human spirit. But you have something now. A tool. A beginning. The water continues its endless dripping. Your chains clink softly as you settle into position. You study the walls around you with new eyes. Stone can be carved. Metal can be shaped. Time you might have plenty of. You hide the spoon in the folds of your tunic and begin to plan. Your stomach clenches with hunger pains that feel like knives. The bread from yesterday is long gone. Your mouth tastes like dust and metal. The thin line of light above tells you another day has passed, but no food has fallen. Maybe the guards forgot. Maybe they want you to suffer. Maybe there is no difference between the two. You pull out the hidden spoon and study it in the dim light. The iron is dark with age and rust. The bowl is shallow, maybe the size of your thumb. The handle curves slightly, worn smooth by countless hands. Someone used this spoon for years before it ended up here. You wonder about that person. A fellow peasant, probably. Someone who understood that even small tools have value. Someone who hid this spoon hoping it might help the next prisoner who found it. The constant drip of water tortures you more than hunger. Your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. Your lips crack and bleed. The sound of water falling drives you nearly mad with thirst. You look up toward the source of the dripping. Somewhere high above, water seeps through the castle foundations. It runs down the walls in tiny streams. Most of it falls beyond your reach, but you can see dark stains on the stone where moisture collects. You examine your chains more carefully. Heavy iron links connect your shackles to metal rings set deep in the stone wall. The rings look solid, hammered into the rock when this prison was built. But the mortar around them shows cracks from age and moisture. You test the spoon against the stone. The iron scrapes and rings against the rock. You try different angles, different pressures. The spoon is harder than you expected. When you strike just right, tiny chips of mortar break away. Hope flickers in your chest like a small flame. You begin working at the mortar around one of the iron rings. Each scrape produces only dust and tiny fragments. Your progress seems impossible to measure. But the alternative is sitting here waiting to die of thirst. The work warms your body. Your muscles, stiff from sleeping on stone, begin to loosen. The repetitive motion gives your mind something to focus on besides hunger and fear. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Rest. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Rest. You develop a rhythm. Work for 100 scrapes, then stop to listen for guards. Check the light from above to track time passing. Hide the spoon when footsteps sound overhead. After what feels like hours, you have carved a small groove around part of the iron ring. The progress is tiny but real. You can see fresh stone beneath the old mortar. Your spoon shows small nicks from the work, but it remains strong. A sound from above makes you freeze. Footsteps directly overhead. Voices getting louder. Someone is coming. You quickly hide the spoon and brush the stone dust from your clothes. You lean back against the wall and close your eyes, pretending to sleep. Heavy footsteps on wooden stairs echo down from above. Torchlight flickers on the walls. 2 guards appear at the edge of your pit, looking down at you like you are an animal in a cage. Still alive, then, one says. His voice echoes off the stone walls. Pity, says the other, would save us the trouble of feeding him. They lower a bucket on a rope. Inside you see a piece of hard cheese, some thin soup, and most precious of all, a cup of water. Your hands shake as you reach for the bucket. Slowly now, the first guard warns. One quick move, and we pull it back up. You force yourself to move carefully. Your chains clank as you lift the bucket. The water tastes like life itself. Cool and clean, washing the dust from your mouth. You want to drink it all at once, but you force yourself to sip slowly. The soup is thin, mostly water with a few bits of turnip floating in it. But it is warm and fills the empty space in your stomach. The cheese is hard as stone and tastes like salt, but your teeth work at it patiently. Savor it, the second guard says with a laugh. Might be your last meal. They pull up the empty bucket and disappear back up the stairs. Their torchlight fades. The darkness returns, but you feel stronger now. Fed and watered, your body remembers what it means to hope. You wait until their footsteps fade completely. Then you pull out your spoon and return to work. The iron ring seems less solid now. Your small groove has grown deeper. Progress is possible. The food gives you energy for harder work. You vary your technique, sometimes scraping, sometimes using the spoon like a tiny chisel. You work on different sections of the ring, spreading your effort to avoid creating obvious damage. Hours pass in steady rhythm. Scrape and rest. Listen and hide. Work and hope. By the time the light above begins to fade, you have loosened the mortar around half of one iron ring. Your wrist aches from the repetitive motion. Your fingertips are scraped raw from holding the spoon. But real progress shows in the growing groove around the metal. You settle back against the wall as darkness deepens. Tomorrow you will continue. Tomorrow you will work toward freedom, one tiny scrape at a time. The spoon rests warm in your palm, a tool of hope in a place designed for despair. Water continues dripping in the darkness. But now it sounds different to your ears. Not torture, but a promise. Stone can be worn away by water. Metal can be loosened by persistence. Even the strongest prison has weaknesses, if you know how to look. You close your eyes and dream of sunlight. Your back screams with pain as you wake on the cold floor. 3 days of sleeping on stone has left your body feeling like broken pottery. Every joint aches. Your muscles cramp when you try to move. The shackles have rubbed your wrists raw and bloody. But your hands move to the hidden spoon immediately. Your one tool, your only hope. You work by feel in the pre-dawn darkness. Your fingers trace the groove you have carved around the iron ring. Deeper now, nearly halfway through the mortar. The progress feels real under your fingertips. Solid. Measurable. You begin your daily routine. Listen for guards. Check the light above. Start scraping. The rhythm comes easier now. Your body has learned the motion. The spoon fits naturally in your grip, worn smooth by 3 days of constant use. You vary the angle to avoid wearing down one edge too quickly. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Pause. Listen. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Today feels different. The mortar crumbles more easily, as if the moisture in the air has weakened it overnight. Larger pieces break away with each strike. Your groove grows noticeably deeper with each session of work. You realize something important. The stone around the iron ring is not solid castle foundation. It is older stone, maybe from a building that stood here before the castle. Softer limestone mixed with harder granite. The medieval builders simply carved their prison into existing rock. This gives you an idea. Instead of just working around the iron ring, you begin carving into the stone itself. The limestone is much softer than the granite. Your spoon can chip away substantial pieces when you hit the right spots. You work with new urgency. If you can carve deep enough into the soft stone, you might be able to pull the entire iron ring free. No need to chip away all the mortar. Just create enough space for the metal to slide out. The work goes faster now. Chips of limestone fall to the floor around your feet. You have to be careful to scatter them, to hide the evidence of your progress. But real progress is happening. Hours pass in focused work. Your world shrinks to the small space around the iron ring. The curve of your spoon against stone. The growing hollow where metal meets rock. The steady accumulation of stone dust and chips. You hear footsteps above and quickly hide your work. But today they pass by without stopping. No food, no water. Your captors have decided to let hunger and thirst do their work. Your mouth feels like sand, but you force yourself to continue. Thirst can wait. Freedom cannot. By midday, you have carved a deep hollow behind the iron ring. When you work the metal back and forth, it moves slightly in its socket. Not loose yet, but looser. The rigid grip of centuries is beginning to fail. You rest and plan your next moves. Once you free one arm, you can reach further. Access more areas of your prison. Maybe reach that dripping water that has tormented you for days. But you must be careful. If the guards notice your increased mobility, they will search you. Find your spoon. Move you to a more secure cell. All your work would be lost. You decide to continue working until one arm is completely free. Then you will wait for the perfect moment to escape. Night time, when fewer guards patrol. When you can move in darkness and silence. The afternoon passes in steady scraping. Your hollow grows deeper. The iron ring shifts more easily. You can now slide 2 fingers into the gap between metal and stone. As evening approaches, you make a final push. Working carefully but quickly, you chip away the last pieces of stone holding the ring in place. The metal slides free with a soft grinding sound. Your left arm is free. You pull the chain and shackle off your wrist, trying not to cry out as the metal scrapes over your raw, bloody skin. For the first time in days, you can extend your arm fully. Flex your fingers without restriction. Reach beyond the small circle that has been your entire world. You immediately stretch toward the source of the dripping water. Your fingers find a small pool that has collected in a depression in the stone wall. The water tastes of stone and age, but it is clean. You cup handful after handful into your mouth, finally ending the torture of constant thirst. Strength flows back into your body with the water. Your mind clears. Your muscles respond more quickly. You feel almost human again, but you force yourself to remain still, to act as if nothing has changed. Your right arm remains chained to create the illusion that you are still securely bound. In the darkness, a casual glance from above would reveal nothing unusual. You settle back against the wall to wait for deeper night. Your free hand rests on the crude spoon that has given you this chance. Such a simple tool, just bent iron, but it has carved a path from despair toward hope. Above, the sounds of the castle settling into night routines filter down to your prison. Fewer footsteps, longer periods of silence, kitchen fires banking low, guards changing shifts. Soon it will be time to test whether a peasant with just a spoon can escape the strongest prison in the realm. Your heart pounds with excitement and terror. 3 days ago, you were just another forgotten prisoner waiting to die in the dark. Tonight, you are something different. Someone who refuses to surrender. Someone who believes that even the smallest tools can break the strongest chains. You grip your spoon tighter and prepare for whatever comes next. You wait in perfect stillness as the castle settles into deep night. Your free left hand rests against the stone wall, feeling for vibrations that might signal approaching guards. Your right arm remains chained, maintaining the deception. The spoon lies hidden beneath your body, pressed against the small of your back. Hours pass with agonizing slowness. Every sound from above makes your heart race. Footsteps that might belong to guards making their rounds. Voices that could signal discovery. But gradually, the noises fade to occasional creaks and settling sounds. You judge it must be well past midnight when you finally dare to move. Working with infinite care, you begin freeing your right arm from its shackle. The process goes much faster now. Your left hand can reach the iron ring. Your spoon can work from better angles. Within an hour, your second arm is free. Both hands now work together to tackle the leg shackles. The iron rings holding your feet are set lower in the wall, harder to reach. But your increased mobility makes all the difference. You can brace yourself properly, apply real force to the spoon. Dawn light begins to filter down from above as you pull the second leg shackle free. You are completely unchained for the first time in 4 days. The sensation feels like being reborn. You stand slowly, testing legs that have barely moved for days. Your muscles shake with weakness and disuse. Your head spins from the simple act of rising to your full height. But you can stand. You can move. You explore the full extent of your prison for the first time. The pit is roughly circular, maybe 10 feet across. The walls rise straight up for about 12 feet before curving inward to form the narrow opening you can see far above. Too high to climb, even with free arms. But now you can search more thoroughly. Your hands explore every inch of the walls, feeling for cracks, loose stones, anything that might provide escape routes. The walls are mostly solid, but you find several small openings near the base. Drainage channels, probably, designed to prevent the prison from flooding completely during heavy rains. One channel is larger than the others. Big enough for a person, if that person was willing to crawl through unknown darkness. The opening disappears into the foundation stones of the castle. It might lead nowhere. It might lead to freedom. You have no way to know without exploring. You hear footsteps above, and quickly return to your original position. The morning guard is making his rounds. You slip the loose shackles back onto your wrists and ankles, holding them in place by hand. In the dim light from above, you should appear normally chained. Heavy boots stop directly overhead. A guard's voice calls down. You awake down there? You groan and shift slightly, as if just waking. Please, you call back in a weak voice. Water. Just a little water. Water costs extra, the guard laughs. What have you got to trade? This is your chance. The guard is alone, talking instead of just checking and moving on. Engaged instead of suspicious. I know things, you call up. About the village. About who steals from the Lord's stores. Silence from above. Then footsteps moving away. Your heart sinks. But moments later, the steps return. This time accompanied by the scrape of a ladder being lowered. Your pulse pounds as you realize what is happening. The guard is coming down, actually entering your prison. It is exactly the opportunity you need, and also the greatest danger you have faced. You hear him descending slowly, a torch in one hand making the ladder work awkward. Light flickers on the walls of your pit, growing brighter as he approaches. Information better be worth my time, he calls down. You keep the loose shackles in place through sheer will. If he looks closely, he will see that you are not actually chained. But guards do not usually examine prisoners carefully. They see what they expect to see. The man reaches the bottom of the ladder and turns toward you. He is younger than his voice suggested, maybe 25 years old. Well-fed, but not particularly large or strong. He carries a short sword at his belt, but his hands hold the torch and a water skin. Talk, he says. What do you know? This is the moment everything depends on. You need him to come closer, within reach of your hidden freedom. The miller's son, you say in a weak whisper. He has been stealing grain, selling it to merchants from other villages. The guard leans forward slightly. How much grain? Dozens of bags, you whisper even more quietly. But you have to come closer. The others, they might hear. It works. Greed and curiosity override caution. The guard takes 3 steps toward you, holding the torch low to see your face better. Tell me everything, he says. Instead, you explode into motion. Your left hand shoots out and grabs his wrist holding the torch. Your right hand drives the crude spoon toward his throat. Not to kill, but to threaten. To show him that you are no longer the helpless prisoner he expected. Drop the sword, you hiss. Quietly, the young guard's eyes go wide with shock and fear. He looks down at the spoon pressed against his neck, then up at your face. For the first time, he truly sees you. Not a broken prisoner, but a desperate human being with nothing left to lose. How did you? He starts. The sword, you repeat. Drop it quietly, or I push this through your throat. He fumbles with the sword belt with his free hand. The weapon clatters to the stone floor. You kick it away immediately, sending it sliding into the darkness beyond the torchlight. The water, you say next. Give me the water. He hands over the skin with shaking hands. You drink deeply, never taking your eyes off his face. The water tastes like victory. Now we're going to walk to that ladder. You tell him. You first. Move slowly. No sudden movements. No calling out. The young guard nods rapidly. Terror has replaced all his earlier confidence. He has probably never been threatened by a prisoner before. Never been on the wrong side of violence. You follow him to the ladder, keeping the spoon pressed against the base of his skull. Your mind races ahead, planning the next steps. You need his keys, his knowledge of the castle layout, his uniform if possible. But most of all, you need to get out of this pit before other guards discover what has happened. Dawn is fully breaking above. The castle will be coming alive soon. Discovery becomes more likely with each passing minute. Up the ladder, you command quietly. Remember, I am right behind you. One shout and you die. He begins climbing awkwardly, hampered by fear and the torch still clutched in one hand. You follow close behind, your crude spoon the only thing standing between you and recapture. For the first time in 4 days, you are moving upward, toward light, toward air, toward the possibility of freedom that seemed impossible just hours ago. Your legs shake violently as you reach the top of the ladder. 4 days in the pit have left your muscles weak and unsteady. The torchlight hurts your eyes after so long in darkness. But you are out of the hole, standing on wooden floors in what appears to be the castle's lower level. The guard ahead of you trembles as much as your legs do, but from fear rather than weakness. His torch illuminates a narrow stone corridor with heavy wooden doors on both sides. Other prison cells, probably. You hope they are empty. Keys, you whisper, pressing the spoon against his neck again. Where are your keys? He fumbles at his belt with shaking hands and produces an iron ring holding perhaps a dozen heavy keys. You take them immediately, testing their weight. These keys represent access to the entire lower level of the castle. Maybe more. Which way out, you ask? There are stairs, he stammers, at the end of the hall. But they are guarded. Always guarded. Your heart sinks slightly. Of course the main exit would be protected. But you have come too far to give up now. Other ways, you press. Kitchen access? Storage rooms. The old drainage tunnel, he says reluctantly. Behind the wine cellar. But it is narrow. Dangerous. It might not lead anywhere. You remember the small openings you found in your prison pit. Medieval castles needed ways to drain rainwater and sewage. Those tunnels had to connect to something. Show me, you command. He leads you down the corridor, moving carefully in the flickering torchlight. Your bare feet are silent on the stone floor, but his boots echo with each step. You wince at the noise, expecting other guards to appear at any moment. The corridor turns left, then right. Heavy wooden doors line both walls. Behind one, you hear the sound of moaning. Another prisoner, suffering in darkness as you did. You want to help, but you cannot save everyone. First you must save yourself. The guard stops at a thick door marked with iron bands. Wine cellar, he whispers. You test the keys until one fits the heavy lock. The door swings open with a squeal of hinges that sounds impossibly loud in the silence. Beyond lies a room filled with wooden barrels and clay jugs. The sweet smell of wine mingles with mustiness and age. The tunnel entrance, you ask. He points toward the back wall with a shaking hand. Behind the largest barrel, a stone covering. But please, if you let me go, I will say nothing. I will tell them you were still chained when I checked. I swear it. You almost feel sorry for him. He is young, probably new to this work. But you cannot afford mercy. Not when freedom lies so close. Move the barrel, you order. Together, you roll the heavy wooden barrel aside. Behind it, a section of the stone floor has been cut out and fitted with a removable stone slab. Lifting rings set into the stone make it possible to raise the covering. Beneath lies a tunnel entrance just wide enough for a person to crawl through. Cold air flows up from the darkness below, carrying scents of earth and water. The passage disappears into complete blackness. You look at the young guard. His face shows hope that you will leave him behind and escape through the tunnel. That hope decides his fate. Turn around, you tell him. When he complies, you strike him sharply at the base of the skull with the handle of your spoon. He collapses unconscious but breathing. You quickly strip off his leather jerkin and key ring. The jerkin is too large, but it will provide warmth and some disguise. You drag his unconscious body behind another barrel where it will not be immediately visible. With luck, no one will find him for hours. Maybe long enough for you to get clear of the castle entirely. The tunnel entrance yawns before you like a hungry mouth. You have no way to know where it leads. It could end in a dead end. It could collapse and crush you. It could fill with water and drown you. But it represents the only path to freedom you are likely to find. You lower yourself into the opening feet first. The stone walls are slick with moisture and centuries of grime. Your bare feet find purchase on rough stone. The space is so narrow your shoulders brush both sides. The tunnel extends downward at a steep angle. You move by feel, one hand braced against each wall. The guard's torch would give light, but it would also consume the limited air and possibly give away your location. The passage seems to go on forever. Your knees scrape against stone. Your back aches from the cramped position. The air grows thicker and more foul with each foot of progress. But gradually, you sense the tunnel beginning to level out. The walls grow slightly wider. Fresh air begins to mix with the stale atmosphere. Somewhere ahead lies the outside world. You crawl faster now, driven by the promise of freedom. Your hands and knees are scraped raw from the rough stone, but you barely notice the pain. Every foot forward takes you further from the dungeon and closer to life. Light appears ahead, faint gray dawn light filtering through what might be an opening. You crawl toward it like a drowning person swimming toward the surface of a lake. The tunnel ends at a metal grating set into the outer wall of the castle. Through the bars, you can see the forest beyond the castle grounds. Trees, grass, and most beautiful of all, open sky. The grating is held in place by ancient bolts set into the stone. You test them with your hands. They are corroded with age and moisture, but still solid. Your spoon will not be enough to break them free. But the guard's keys might work differently. You examine the bolts more carefully in the dim light. They are not just corroded, they are loose. Centuries of water damage have weakened their grip on the stone. You insert the largest key behind one bolt and use it as a lever. The metal screams in protest but begins to turn. Ancient rust breaks away in flakes. The bolt loosens and finally pulls free. 3 more bolts yield to the same treatment. The grating swings open on protesting hinges. Fresh morning air flows into the tunnel, the sweetest thing you have ever breathed. You crawl through the opening and emerge into the world of the living. Grass beneath your hands feels like silk. Trees stretch toward a sky painted with dawn colors. Birds sing in the branches overhead. You have forgotten how beautiful the world could be. But you are not free yet. You are still on castle grounds, wearing a stolen guard's jerkin, carrying stolen keys. Discovery would mean recapture and a much worse fate than your original imprisonment. You need to reach the forest. Find clothes. Get as far from this place as possible before the alarm is raised. You take one last look at the tunnel entrance, then replace the grating and scatter leaves to hide your passage. With luck, it will be hours before anyone realizes how you escaped. Then you turn your back on the castle and run toward the trees, your crude iron spoon still clutched in your hand. The tool that carved a path from darkness into light. Your lungs burn as you reach the edge of the forest. Behind you, the castle still sleeps in the early morning mist. No alarm bells ring. No shouts of discovery echo across the courtyard. Your escape remains secret for now, but you know that cannot last much longer. The stolen guard's jerkin hangs loose on your thin frame, but it provides blessed warmth against the cool morning air. Your bare feet are already cut and bleeding from running across rocky ground, but you dare not stop. Every step takes you further from recapture. You plunge into the forest without looking back. The trees close around you like protective arms. Branches catch at the oversized jerkin. Thorns tear at your legs. But the forest offers concealment, and concealment means life. You need to think like a hunted animal now. Stay off main paths. Avoid open spaces. Move quietly and leave few tracks. The castle guards know these woods well. They hunt deer and wild boar here regularly. They will know where fugitives are most likely to run, so you choose the hardest path. The thick undergrowth where horses cannot follow easily. The steep ravines where dogs will lose your scent. The rocky outcroppings that show no footprints. Water becomes your most urgent need. Running and fear have left your mouth dry as dust. You remember seeing a stream from the castle grounds, but that lies too close to danger. You must find water deeper in the forest. You follow a faint deer trail that winds between massive oak trees. The path leads generally downward, which usually means water somewhere below. Your ears strain for the sound of running water over the noise of your own harsh breathing. A bell begins tolling in the distance. The castle bell, ringing the alarm. Your escape has been discovered. The hunt will begin soon. You force yourself to move faster despite your exhaustion. Speed matters more than stealth now. You need distance between yourself and the castle before the dogs are released. The deer trail leads to a small clearing where a spring bubbles up from between moss-covered rocks. You throw yourself down and drink deeply, cupping the cold water in your hands. It tastes like freedom, but even as you drink, you hear the first sounds of pursuit. Distant shouts, the bay of hunting hounds. They have found your trail already. You splash through the spring to confuse your scent, then scramble up the rocky slope on the far side. The stones cut your feet worse, but they will show no tracks. You need every advantage you can find. The forest grows thicker as you climb. Ancient trees block most of the sunlight. Fallen logs create natural barriers that slow your progress, but will also slow your pursuers. You weave between the obstacles, trying to leave as little sign as possible. Behind you, the sounds of the hunt grow steadily louder. More voices now. More dogs. They are organizing a proper search, not just a few guards stumbling through the woods. You reach the crest of a small hill and risk a look back. Through gaps in the trees, you can see movement at the forest edge. Men on horseback, dogs ranging back and forth across the ground. They have found where you entered the woods, but they cannot move quickly in the thick forest. Horses must pick their way carefully between trees. Dogs need time to sort out your trail from the scents of deer and other animals. You still have a chance. You continue deeper into the woods, following ridgelines where the ground is firmer and shows fewer footprints. Your peasant knowledge of forests serves you well. You know which plants indicate water nearby, which animal trails lead to better hiding places, how to move quietly despite your exhaustion. The sun rises higher, filtering through the canopy in golden shafts. Under other circumstances, you might enjoy the beauty of the deep forest, the play of light and shadow, the rich sense of earth and growing things. But today the trees represent only cover and concealment. You hear water ahead again, a larger stream this time, running fast over rocky ground, perfect for hiding your trail. You wade into the cold current and begin following it downstream, staying in the water to mask your scent. The stream bed is treacherous. Smooth stones roll under your feet. Hidden holes threaten to twist your ankles. The cold water numbs your legs, but you force yourself to keep moving. Water leaves no footprints. You follow the stream for what feels like miles. The current carries away any trace of your passage. The sound of running water masks the noise of your movement. For the first time since escaping, you begin to hope you might actually get away. But your body cannot maintain this pace much longer. 4 days of near starvation have left you weak. The cold water drains your remaining strength. Your legs shake with each step. Black spots dance at the edges of your vision. You need rest, food, shelter, but the sounds of pursuit continue behind you, sometimes closer, sometimes farther, but never completely gone. The stream bends around a massive fallen tree. On the far side, you spot something that makes your heart leap. A small hut, almost hidden among the trees. Smoke rises from a hole in the thatched roof. Someone lives here. You wade to the bank and approach carefully. The hut is crude but well maintained. A vegetable garden grows beside it. Chicken bones hang from strings to ward off evil spirits. This is the home of a forest dweller, someone who lives outside the Lord's direct control. You hear voices inside, an old woman speaking in soothing tones, a child's voice answering. They sound peaceful, unaware of the hunt raging through their forest. You hesitate at the edge of the clearing. These people could help you, or they could turn you in for the reward that surely follows escaped prisoners. You have no way to know which choice they will make. Behind you, a hunting horn sounds much closer than before. The dogs have found your trail again somehow. Perhaps where you left the first stream, or where you stumbled and left blood on the rocks. You make your choice. Better to face unknown people than certain recapture. You approach the hut and knock gently on the wooden door. The door opens to reveal an old woman with sharp eyes and silver hair. She takes in your appearance immediately. The stolen guard's jerkin, your bleeding feet, the desperate look in your eyes. Behind her, a young girl peeks around her grandmother's skirts, curious and unafraid. Running from something, the old woman states. Not a question. You nod, too exhausted for elaborate lies. The castle. They will kill me if they catch me. She studies your face for a long moment. Then she steps aside and gestures you into the small hut. Come, quickly. The interior is warm and smoky from the central fire. Dried herbs hang from the rafters. Clay pots line wooden shelves. A small loom sits in one corner. This woman lives simply but comfortably, making her living from forest knowledge and handicrafts. Sit, she commands, pointing to a wooden stool. Anna, bring water and clean cloth. The little girl, maybe 8 years old, hurries to obey. She brings a wooden bowl of clean water and strips of linen. Her grandmother kneels and begins washing your cut feet with gentle hands. What did you do? The old woman asks as she works. To earn the Lord's anger? Nothing, you reply truthfully. I was walking home from the fields. Someone grabbed me. I woke up in the dungeon. She nods grimly. It happens when the Lord needs someone to blame for missing grain or dead livestock. Easier to punish a peasant than find the real thief. The hunting horn sounds again, much closer now. Through the small window, you can see movement in the trees. The search party is almost upon you. The old woman hears it too. She stands quickly and looks toward her door. They come here sometimes, looking for herbs or asking about strangers in the forest. Your heart pounds. This woman could earn a substantial reward by turning you over to the guards. Enough silver to buy comfort for years. Why should she risk helping a stranger? Hide me, you plead. Please. I have nothing to give you, but... Hush, she interrupts. Anna, the sleeping herbs. Quickly. The girl produces a small clay pot from the shelf. The old woman sprinkles powder from it into a cup of water and hands it to you. Drink. All of it. You hesitate. The powder could be poison. A way to deliver your body to the guards without a struggle. Trust or die, she says simply. Choose now. The sound of horses grows louder outside. Voices calling to each other as they search the woods. You drink the mixture in one gulp. It tastes bitter and earthy. Good, the woman says. Now lie down behind the loom. Whatever happens, do not move. Do not make a sound. You crawl behind the wooden loom as drowsiness begins to cloud your thoughts. The herbs are taking effect quickly. Your eyelids grow heavy. Your limbs relax despite your fear. The old woman throws a heavy blanket over you, then arranges baskets and cloth to hide your form completely. From outside, the sound of horses stopping fills the clearing. Stay quiet, Anna, the grandmother whispers. Answer no questions unless I tell you. Heavy boots approach the door. Someone pounds on the wooden planks with the butt of a spear or sword. Open for the Lord's men. The door creaks open. Through the gaps in the cloth covering you, you can see the legs of armed guards entering the small hut. 3 men at least, maybe more waiting outside. Dame Martha, a voice says with mock politeness. We seek a dangerous criminal who escaped the castle dungeon. Have you seen any strangers in the forest today? No strangers, Martha replies calmly. Only the usual forest folk going about their business. This criminal is desperate, armed and dangerous. He would kill anyone who helped him escape justice. You hear the threat clearly. Help the fugitive and face the Lord's wrath. I understand, Martha says. If I see anyone suspicious, I will send word immediately. One of the guards moves around the small hut, poking at shadows with his spear. He comes close to your hiding place. The spear point probes the cloth near your head. You force yourself to remain perfectly still despite the sleeping herbs, making everything feel distant and strange. What's behind the loom? The guard asks. Winter clothes, Martha replies without hesitation. Wool and linen, too warm for this season. The guard lifts part of the blanket with his spear point. You hold your breath, praying the herbs keep you motionless. Through half-closed eyes, you see his face peering down at the tangle of cloth and baskets. The herbs make everything seem slow and dreamlike. The guard's face wavers like a reflection in disturbed water. You feel like you are watching events from a great distance. Just cloth, he reports to his companions. Search the garden, another voice commands. Check the chicken coop. He might be hiding anywhere. The guards spread out to search the clearing around the hut. You hear them poking through the vegetable garden, disturbing the chickens who squawk and flutter in protest, checking every possible hiding place except the one where you actually lie. The sleeping herbs pull you deeper into a peaceful haze. Your fear recedes until it feels like someone else's emotion. Your body relaxes completely. If they find you now, you might not even care. But gradually the sounds of searching fade. Horses move away through the forest. Voices grow distant and disappear. The hunt has passed you by. Martha's face appears above you as she pulls away the covering cloth. They are gone, she says softly. But the herbs will keep you sleeping for hours. Rest now. When you wake, we will decide what comes next. You try to thank her, but the words come out as mumbled nonsense. The sleeping mixture has taken full effect. The world fades to comfortable darkness. Your last conscious thought is wonder at this stranger's kindness. She risked everything to help someone she did not know. In a world where most people think only of themselves, Martha chose compassion over safety. You sleep deeply, dreaming of freedom and unexpected grace. You wake to the smell of cooking food and the sound of gentle rain. Your body feels heavy and strange from the sleeping herbs, but rested for the first time in days. Pale afternoon light filters through the small window. You have slept most of the day away in the safety of Martha's hut. The old woman sits by the fire, stirring something in an iron pot. The rich smell makes your empty stomach clench with hunger. She looks up as you stir behind the loom. Awake at last, she says with a slight smile. Good. The search parties have moved deeper into the forest. They think you are miles away by now. You sit up slowly, testing your body's responses. The cuts on your feet have been properly bandaged. The worst of your exhaustion has lifted. You feel almost human again. Why did you help me? You ask. Martha ladles stew into a wooden bowl and hands it to you. Because you needed help. Because the Lord's justice is often no justice at all. Because my own son disappeared into the castle dungeons 20 years ago. The stew is thick with vegetables and bits of meat. Real food, the first you have tasted since your imprisonment began. You eat slowly, savoring each bite. What happened to your son? You ask between mouthfuls. Accused of poaching deer, she replies. The evidence was a bow that belonged to another man entirely. But the Lord needed someone to punish after his favorite hunting dog was found dead. You understand now why she chose to help you. Her son might have escaped too, if someone had shown him kindness. Her act of mercy honors his memory. Little Anna sits quietly in the corner, weaving grass into small dolls. She seems untroubled by harboring a fugitive. To her, this is simply what her grandmother does. Help people who need helping. You cannot stay here, Martha continues. The guards will return tomorrow or the next day. They always do, until they are certain their quarry has escaped completely. Where can I go, you ask? I have no money, no friends, no family who would risk helping me. Martha considers this while she eats her own portion of stew. There are places, she says finally, other forests where the Lord's power reaches less strongly. Towns where a man can lose himself among strangers. She rises and goes to a wooden chest in the corner. From it she produces a bundle wrapped in oiled cloth. Clothes that fit you better. A bit of food for the journey. A few copper coins. You stare at the bundle, overwhelmed by her generosity. I cannot repay this. I may never be able to repay this. Repayment is not required, she says firmly. But if you survive, if you find safety and build a new life, remember to help the next person who needs it. That is payment enough. Outside, the rain continues to fall steadily. The sound is peaceful, but you know it creates new dangers. Rain will wash away your scent trail, which helps. But it also makes travel miserable and increases the risk of getting lost. The rain is good, Martha says, reading your thoughts. It will hide your passage and keep the search parties close to shelter. But you must leave before it stops. You change into the clothes she has provided. Simple peasant garb, brown wool and linen, but clean and properly sized. The transformation from escaped prisoner to ordinary traveler is remarkable. Martha walks to the door and peers out at the weather. The storm will last through the night, she judges. Leave at first light. Follow the stream north until it joins the river. Cross the river and continue north. 3 days' walk will bring you to Millhaven town. What is in Millhaven, you ask? People who ask few questions about a man's past, she replies. Work for those willing to do it. Distance from this place and its lord. You practice walking in the new clothes, testing how they feel and move. The boots are slightly large but comfortable. The cloak will shed rain and provide warmth. You look like any other peasant traveling the roads. As evening deepens, Martha prepares a larger meal than usual, her way of sending you off with full strength for the journey ahead. You eat gratefully, storing energy for whatever hardships wait in the forest. Little Anna approaches shyly as you finish eating. In her small hands, she holds one of her grass dolls, woven with particular care. For protection, she says solemnly, placing the tiny figure in your palm. Grandmother says it will help you find your way. You accept the gift with the seriousness it deserves. Thank you, Anna. I will keep it with me always. The child smiles and returns to her corner. Martha watches this exchange with approval, teaching kindness by example, passing wisdom to the next generation. You settle down to rest through the night, but not to sleep deeply. Tomorrow you will face the forest alone again, this time as a traveler rather than a fugitive. The distinction matters, but the dangers remain real. Rain drums on the thatched roof above. Wind sways the trees outside. The storm provides cover for your escape, but it will also make the journey difficult and dangerous. You touch the crude iron spoon still hidden in your clothes, the tool that began your escape. Then you feel Anna's grass doll in your pocket. Different kinds of help, both precious in their own way. By dawn, you will be walking toward a new life. If you survive the forest, if you avoid recapture, if luck and determination prove stronger than the forces arrayed against you. But for tonight, you are safe. Fed and sheltered and cared for by people who chose compassion over fear. Whatever comes next, you will carry that knowledge with you. Some people, when given the choice between helping and turning away, choose to help. That alone makes the world worth fighting for. Dawn breaks gray and wet through the forest canopy. The storm has passed, leaving the world dripping and fresh. Every leaf glistens with raindrops. The air smells clean and full of life. It is a good day for new beginnings, if you can survive long enough to enjoy them. Martha has prepared a traveler's pack for you. food for 3 days, a water skin, a small knife for cutting bread and defending yourself if necessary. Everything wrapped in oiled cloth to stay dry. Remember, she says as you prepare to leave, follow the stream north. Keep the sun on your right hand in the morning, your left in the afternoon. 3 days to Millhaven if you do not get lost. You shoulder the pack and test its weight. Manageable, but substantial enough to mark you as a serious traveler rather than a day laborer. The disguise should help if you encounter other people on the road. Anna hugs your legs goodbye. Come back and visit, she says with a child's confidence that all stories end happily. If I can, you promise. When it is safe. Martha does not embrace you, but her weathered hand touches your shoulder briefly. Go with God, she says simply. And remember what we discussed about helping others. You nod and walk toward the forest edge. Each step takes you further from the only safety you have known since escaping the dungeon. But staying means discovery and death. Forward is the only direction that offers hope. The stream runs clear and fast from the night's rain. You follow it carefully, staying close enough to use it for navigation, but far enough away to avoid leaving obvious tracks along the muddy banks. The forest feels different today, less like a place of hiding and more like a highway to freedom. Birds sing in the trees overhead. Squirrels chatter and leap between branches. The normal life of the woods has returned after yesterday's disturbance. You make good time in the cool morning air. Your body, rested and fed, responds well to steady walking. The new clothes and boots make travel comfortable. For the first time since your imprisonment began, you feel like yourself again. The stream leads you through a variety of terrain. Dense thickets where you must push through grabbing branches. Open meadows where you hurry across exposed ground. Rocky gorges where the water tumbles over small waterfalls. By midday, you have covered several miles. The castle has disappeared completely behind the trees. You begin to believe you might actually escape its reach entirely. You stop to rest and eat beside a quiet pool where the stream widens. The bread Martha provided tastes better than any food you remember. Simple pleasure in being alive and free to choose your own path. As you eat, you hear voices approaching through the forest. Male voices, talking loudly without concern for who might hear them. You quickly pack your food and look for cover. 3 men emerge from the trees on the far side of the stream. Not castle guards, but something else. Rough clothes and weapons suggest bandits or mercenaries. They stop at the stream edge to water their horses and rest. Still no sign of him, one says in a gravelly voice. Beginning to think the bastard drowned himself rather than face justice. Your blood chills. They are talking about you. Lords offering good silver for proof of death, another replies. Dead or alive, but preferably dead. Wants to make an example. The third man, older and scarred, spits into the stream. Waste of time. Prisoner like that, weak from hunger, he is probably dead already. Eaten by wolves or died of cold. They are bounty hunters. Mercenaries hired to supplement the regular search parties. Men who kill for money and ask no questions about justice or guilt. You remain perfectly still in your hiding place, barely breathing. These men are more dangerous than guards. Guards follow rules and orders. Mercenaries follow only the promise of payment. Check the tracks here, the scarred man orders. See if anyone crossed recently. Your heart pounds as one of the hunters examines the stream bank. You crossed here hours ago, but the rain might have washed away your footprints. Or it might have made them more obvious in the soft mud. Something here, the man calls. Boot print looks fresh. The others join him, studying the ground with professional interest. These men know how to read signs in the forest, how to follow trails and predict where fugitives will go. Could be anyone, the gravelly voice says. Traveler, woodsman, anyone. Or our rabbit, the scarred man replies. Size looks right. Depth suggests a man carrying a pack. They begin following your trail along the stream bank. moving slowly but methodically, reading the story your passage left in disturbed leaves and bent grass. You wait until they are out of sight, then begin moving in the opposite direction as quickly as possible. Your careful plan to follow the stream north must be abandoned. These hunters will track you relentlessly if you stay on the obvious path. You turn east, toward rougher country where tracking will be more difficult. The terrain is harder, but it offers better concealment. You push through thick undergrowth, ignoring thorns that catch at your clothes and skin. Behind you, you hear a shout. They have found more of your trail. Discovered your resting place, probably. They know for certain now that you passed this way recently. You begin to run, abandoning stealth for speed. Crashing through the forest, leaving a trail any child could follow. But distance matters more than concealment now. You need to reach terrain where horses cannot follow before they organize a proper pursuit. The forest grows wilder as you flee eastward. Older trees with massive trunks, thick undergrowth that blocks the sun, rocky outcroppings that offer both concealment and obstacles to mounted pursuit. You run until your lungs burn and your legs shake with exhaustion. Then you force yourself to run further. The sound of pursuit follows relentlessly. Voices calling to each other. Horses crashing through the brush. The bay of tracking dogs. They have brought hounds. Professional hunting dogs trained to follow human scent. Your only chance is to find water deep enough to break your trail, or reach ground so rough that horses become useless. Ahead, the forest opens into a rocky ravine cut by a fast-flowing river. The water runs deep and cold, fed by mountain springs. This is your chance. You plunge into the current without hesitation. The cold water shocks your system, but you force yourself to wade downstream. The rocky bottom provides good footing despite the current's strength. Behind you, the dogs reach the river bank and mill around in confusion. Water breaks scent trails. The handlers will have to cast about on both sides of the river to pick up your trail again. You use their confusion to put distance between yourself and your pursuers. Wading downstream in the knee-deep current, letting the water carry away any trace of your passage. The river bends around a massive boulder, hiding you from sight of the far bank. You risk climbing out on the rocky shore and continue on foot, moving carefully to leave as few tracks as possible. Hours pass in steady flight through increasingly wild country. The sounds of pursuit fade and disappear. Either you have lost them, or they have given up the chase as too difficult. You finally stop to rest when the sun begins to set. Your clothes are still damp from the river crossing. Your feet ache from hours of walking on rocky ground. But you are alive and free. You make a cold camp in a sheltered spot between two large boulders. No fire, nothing that might give away your position. Just bread and water, and the satisfaction of another day of freedom. As darkness falls, you take stock of your situation. You are far from Martha's planned route to Millhaven. Lost in wild country with only rough navigation to guide you. But you are also far from your pursuers, hidden in terrain they cannot easily search. You touch the iron spoon still hidden in your clothes, the tool that started your escape from hopelessness. Then Anna's grass doll, reminder of unexpected kindness, both precious in different ways. Tomorrow you will continue toward whatever new life awaits beyond these forests. Tonight you rest under the stars, a free man in a dangerous world. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. But freedom itself makes any price worth paying. You made it. 3 months have passed since you crawled out of that dungeon with nothing but a crude iron spoon and desperate hope. The scars on your wrists have faded to thin white lines. Your hands are calloused now from honest work in the mills of Millhaven town. You have built a new life far from the castle that tried to break you. But you remember everything. The taste of moldy bread in darkness. The sound of chains scraping against stone. The moment when you realized that even the smallest tool could carve a path to freedom. Most of all, you remember the people who chose to help. Martha, who risked everything for a stranger. little Anna, who gave you a grass doll for protection, even the young guard, whose carelessness provided the opportunity you needed. Medieval dungeons were designed to destroy hope. Stone walls, iron chains, and endless darkness were meant to convince prisoners that resistance was futile, that the powerful would always triumph over the weak. But they were wrong. One person with determination and a simple tool could break through centuries of stone and mortar. One act of kindness could change the course of a life. One choice to help rather than turn away could echo through generations. Your iron spoon sits on the mantel of your small cottage now, a reminder of what human beings can accomplish when they refuse to surrender, when they believe that freedom is worth any sacrifice. The castle still stands on its hill, its dungeons still full of forgotten prisoners. But now you know the truth that the builders tried to hide. Every prison has weaknesses. Every chain can be broken. Every wall can be breached by someone willing to scrape away at it, one grain of mortar at a time. You kept your promise to Martha. When other refugees arrive in Millhaven, fleeing their own kinds of imprisonment, you help them find work and shelter. You pass on what you learned about survival and hope. The lesson spreads from person to person like ripples in still water. Sometimes, late at night when rain drums on your roof, you think about the prisoners still trapped in darkness. You wonder if any of them have found their own spoons, their own tools of liberation, their own reasons to keep fighting when everything seems lost. You hope they have, because if a simple peasant with nothing but determination and a bent piece of iron can escape the strongest dungeon in the realm, then anyone can find their way to freedom. The only question is whether they choose to try. Freedom is never given. It must be taken, one scrape at a time, one choice at a time, one act of courage at a time. And sometimes, if you are very lucky, someone will be there to help you when you need it most. That is the real treasure you found in that dungeon. Not the spoon itself, but the knowledge that human kindness exists even in the darkest places. That people will risk everything for strangers. That hope can survive anything, if you feed it with small acts of defiance. The spoon gleams dully in the firelight, scarred but unbroken. Like you, like everyone who refuses to give up, like everyone who believes that tomorrow can be different from today, if you are willing to work for it.